Hi, my name is Steve Wright. I'm the product manager for Quantum's DXi family of deduplicating backup storage devices, and I'm just making this video to show you how to install the new free DXi V5000 community version. This is not going to be a PowerPoint presentation, but I did want to make a few points first. The Quantum DXi V5000 community version has nearly all the features of every other enterprise-level Quantum DXi deduplication device. So that means you have secure snapshot, so that you can do a restore in case of a ransomware attack. You have replication, which means you can replicate data between two DXIs, either virtual or virtual and real, or whatever mix you have. Full storage management and access control, and really all the features you'd expect on an enterprise backup storage product, except that it runs on your hardware and it's free for 5 terabytes forever. So try it out, and if you want more, you can upgrade. It scales up to 256 terabytes with the license. Now, the V5000 is a .iso or a .ova file, so you can install it with Hyper-V, VMware, or KVM. This video is about KVM on CentOS, but the process is similar for other products, and the configuration is exactly the same. So you're going to need a Linux server with KVM and at least 200 gigabytes of free disk space, or 5.2 terabytes if you want to maximize the use of the V5000. You can use anywhere from 200 gigabytes to 5.2 terabytes. 2 CPU cores, obviously 4 is better, and 4 gigabytes of RAM, and again, more is better. But whatever you start out with, you can always upgrade to more later. Just a few more details. I will be installing to 4 virtual disks. Now, you can do an install on just 2 virtual disks, but it's not upgradable to a license, and it's really not any easier. Now, if you have any questions on the install or suggestions on how to do it better, please check out our community forum at forumv.co. And yes, that's .co, not .com. Thanks a lot, and let's get into the install. As you can see, I already have my Linux system running. This is a CentOS Linux 7 system, and I've also installed the Virtual Machine Manager, which is a GUI, which makes it very easy to install virtual machines. Of course, you can really install the ISO any way you want to into KVM. This is just the way that I'm doing it. And obviously, since I'm already at this point, I've already registered for the free DXi V5000. Only a few fields to fill out there. Probably you've already done this if you're watching this video. And I've also registered for the Quantum Forum V forum. Again, just a great way to exchange information. I put notices here, I link videos here. Pretty much anything that's going on in the world of the virtual DXi you're going to find here, as well as some great tips and tricks for physical quantum DXIs, because really every DXi is pretty much the same. So let's go ahead and clear this stuff out of the way, and let's get started on the install. Now, I've already positioned my ISO install file here, so very easy to install. I just click on the new system, new VM. I have the media already in place here. So I might have to browse for my image usually, but mine is already on the list. And I'm going to go ahead and tell it what I'm going to go ahead and tell it what kind of system I'm installing on. So it's going to be Linux and CentOS 7. Now, as we talked about, I'm not going to do a basic community install. I'm going to do a medium-size install. So I'm going to give it a full 20 gigabytes of memory and 6 CPU cores. Now, I've already created my disk images here, and I'll show you what I've created. And by the way, it's very important. These are virtual disks. And it's very important that if you do a few installs one after the other because you're playing around with different things, you always want to recreate these disks every time. But as you can see, I've created a total of 4 disks, 100 gigabyte for the boot disk, 53 gigabytes for the BP metadata, and 5 gigabytes for the SN metadata, and a full 8 terabytes for the storage. And I set those up as raw, so they're thin provisioned. I don't actually have a full 8 terabytes of storage on my system, but that's okay. I'm never going to use that much. So I'm just going to start out by choosing the boot disk. Go to next. I'm going to choose a name for this. And this is going to be DXi 2-1, just because it's that's how I'm naming it in my environment. And I'm going to customize the configuration before install. That's very important. And I'm also going to go ahead and choose, well, that's the proper bridge, or I have a bridge set up so that I can manage this externally. So I hit finish. Now on this interface, it's going to bring me to the configuration here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to create all SCSI disks. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this disk, and I'm going to go to advanced options on it. I'm going to change it to be SCSI and apply. And now I'm going to go ahead and create my 3 other disks. Okay, now if you look, I have a total of 4 SCSI disks set up. The first one is my 100 gigabyte boot disk. The next one is 53 gigs, then 5 gigs, and then my large storage disk, which is 8 terabytes. Now with this done, I'm ready to go ahead and start my install. And this is going to take a while. We'll go through a couple of things here, and then we'll just go ahead and let this run, and I'll jump back in again. So you can see I am going to boot into this 3-disk setup with DXi. That's the only option I really have here that I care about. So hit enter on that, and I'll just let it go through the install process. Now the install itself took about half an hour or so. So once the install complete, the guest is going to stop, so I'm going to need to restart it. And I can just let it restart here by default, or just go ahead and hit enter. This is special UI we built just for the V series. Because I gave it enough resources, enough CPU and enough memory, it's going to ask me how I want to configure this. So I'm just going to configure it, as you can see, as this particular format here. And the reason why it didn't offer me a larger format than 5 is because I don't have a license in it yet. So 5 terabytes is all it supports. So I'll just hit OK. And we'll let it run again. I've got the GUI back up again. You can see that the IP address was set by DHCP. I'm going to change that when I configure it. To make sure that my install is complete, I just double click on the browser. This is still within my virtual machine manager. And my first login is always admin and password. And as soon as I log in, that takes me to the welcome setup. And that's really the end of the install. At this point, I'm ready to go into the configuration, and that'll be in a separate video. Thanks again for your time, and I hope you enjoy using the Quantum DXi V5000 community version. You can upgrade this at any time, add more storage to it, put a license in it from Quantum. You can also attach this to an entire enterprise of DXi systems, either physical or virtual. Use all of our features, replicate between systems, and so forth. And please do leave us any feedback you have on our forum, which is the forumv.co website that we talked about earlier. And I hope to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.